Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and having a great week so far. As we talked about last week, each time that we're doing these AB cohorts, I'll be doing a very quick video for those of you that had to miss class for each Monday or each Friday that you had to miss. So this week, we went over some pretty dense information. We talked a lot about research and how to find certain research and what that looks like as you start really working on your annotated bibliography. So first and foremost, we need to talk about a couple different types of research. Number one, there's primary research. And primary research is when we go out into the field and we are looking and finding our own answers to our own questions. An example that I have of this, I have a dad who does some really unique things with horses, and it's very rare. A lot of people don't do it. Or just can't do it. They don't have the skill set. So if that was something I wanted to learn more about, or I wanted to do an experiment or find some statistics over that, I would go to him, I would ask him questions, and I would document all the answers that I found or the conclusions that I drew from that particular conversation. That's called primary research. Secondary research is when I publish that information, and then one of you would go look it up, read about it, and then use that in an essay or some other research that you were conducting. That's called secondary research. It's research that you didn't necessarily go and find or go and create, but you have the capability to look it up and find it. The next part that we need to discuss is the difference between research and peer-reviewed research. Research can really mean so many different things. It can mean that you Google something, and we all know how many things pop up on Google. It means that you can even grab things off of social media outlets or blogs, or any other kind of source out there. However, peer-reviewed research is when you go and you look for scholarly academic articles, and they've been published, but not only have they been published, they've been reviewed by other experts in that particular field. So for example, if you're looking for an article about nursing, and you read this article about nursing, what you're going to find is it's not just that author that agreed to the research and backed the research. It's other expert nurses or other expert researchers that read and agreed to those particular things as well. When we start considering what creates a great academic essay or a sound academic essay, we need to consider what kind of research is going to create the best argument, the best foundation for our paper. In this case, in what we're getting ready to write with our short research essay, there's really a place for both. I am someone that believes that there's a place for blogs, there's a place for websites. There's a lot of people that put really good information out there in today's world that are not peer-reviewed. However, when we talk about our foundation, when we talk about what creates great academic research, obviously peer-reviewed has a little bit more validity to it than if you're just grabbing a blog off of the internet. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to walk you through how to find that peer-reviewed research. And then I'm going to give you a few tips and tools as you're creating your annotated bibliography, how to cite that information and how to put it into a Word document so that you make sure you're using proper Mla format. So what I want to do first is I want to share Okay. So first, what I want you to do is go to your home page. And when you look at this quick links right here, you're going to see that library is under the student section. Okay. And then if you scroll down, there's so much information here. So we're going to kind of shift through that together. You can search for books, and of course, books are always an option. I will say I don't foresee many of you having the time capacity to read an entire book for this paper, but if you're someone who loves to read, of course, that's an option. Most of you are going to be looking for articles, and that's what you're going to be researching, so we're going to talk more about that in a minute. And if you really get stuck, there's a great tool here, Ask a Librarian, where you can type in a message and a librarian that's on duty will get back to you and help you with that search. So today we're going to use nursing as an example. So if we're talking about key qualities, character qualities, then that's what we would type in that search bar. And some of you may be saying, wow, she didn't type a lot. All she said was compassion and nursing. Part of the reason that we want to keep that verbiage concise is because if we use too many words, then the database is going to search for every single word that we type into that search bar. So it's this really careful balance that we're trying to find. We want to use enough verbiage where we're offering clarity, but we don't want to use so much verbiage that the database is searching for 10 different words. So in this instance, I simply did compassion in nursing. I gave the character quality and I gave the field that I'm researching. So then I want to show you this toolbar here on the left. We want to refine our search. We want the full text because we don't want just half the article. We want to read the whole article and make sure we're getting a true summary. And then scholarly and peer-reviewed, this is what I was talking to you about earlier, that we want to make sure that we're using scholarly and peer-reviewed sources. And I want you to watch. Right now, there's 203,000 articles, but when we click on scholarly and peer-reviewed, that drops down to 20,000. What that tells you is there's a lot of research that's being done, but most of it is not peer-reviewed and scholarly because it takes a lot of time, resources, and effort for that to happen. And then let's talk about this publication date down here. When we're considering the nursing field, I'm not sure we want to research something that's from the 1920s. So we want to change this publication date, in this case, to 2000. For most scholarly academic research, a lot of professors are going to want you to use things within the last 10 years. For the purposes of this class, and since we're just getting our feet wet, I'm okay with you doing the last 20. So then what you're going to do after you've done all these different refine the search tools, you're going to go through and I want you to read each title. And as you're looking at the titles, I want you to ask yourself, does this sound like something that would be beneficial for my paper? This first article looks like it's about clinical nursing teachers. So I'm not sure that's good for the purposes of this course. But if we look at the second one, recognizing care and compassion in nursing, that sounds like something that could be really promising. Before you just click on it and you read the entire article and potentially waste your time, I want you to look at this tool right here that says preview. This gives you an opportunity to read a very short summary before you click on the title and you have to read the entire article. This says, reflecting on the values of foreign travel, especially when you can make comparisons between nursing in this country and other countries, is an enlightening and salutary experience. Recently, Jean Clark from Dublin and I were sharing our experiences of nursing in third world countries when she suddenly said, the trouble with care is that you only recognize it when it is not present. This sounds like it could be a great article. So I'm going to click on it. I do want to see the full text online, and a lot of times Gaston will prompt you to put in your username and password. So make sure you know that if you're off campus and you're researching. And then sometimes it'll send you to a web page that already has the full text online. In this case, it did not. So I want to go over here to the left and I want to click PDF full text. And the reason I want to do that is I want to make sure that I have the page numbers so that when I'm citing that information in my paper, I can include the page numbers because that's a part of MLA in-text citation. And let's say I read this article and there's something in here that I find really useful and that I can use. I'm going to have to cite it for my annotated bibliography, and I'm going to be creating a full citation, right? And then especially if I go on to use this in my paper, I'm going to have to create a full citation too. Here's the good news. If you use peer-reviewed articles, the citation process is really easy. You're going to go back to that initial page, and right over here on the right-hand side, you're going to see this little, it looks like a paper with some writing on it, and it says Cite next to it. You're going to click on that. And then if you scroll through, you're going to see where it says Mla Works Cited, and it's already created the citation there for you. You can copy, and then you can go to a Word document, and you can paste. And then, of course, you're going to have to fix the formatting. It needs to follow MLA, which means Times New Roman, 2.0 font. You don't want there to be any color or any sort of highlighting, and you want to make sure that you're using black ink. And then the last thing you're going to need to do is what we call a hanging indentation, okay? And this is just proper formatting for any works cited page or any annotated bibliography. So you're going to go to the end of this first line, and you're going to hit Tab. You're going to go to the next line, and you're going to hit Tab. And what you can see created here is you have the first line, which is the author's name, that's totally left aligned, and then you have these other two that are hanging indentions, okay? And then if I were going to create the summary for my annotated bibliography, I would simply go to the end of my citation and I would begin citing this work, or I would begin summarizing this work. So in this article, and let's go back and take a look at the author's first name. George Castledine. George Castledine emphasizes the, and I apologize for some of these spelling errors here, emphasizes the importance of compassion in the nursing field. Castledine references several examples that can help readers understand why this is such an essential character quality for a successful and useful nurse. And then guys, all of the summary also needs to have that same hanging indentation. So we want to make sure that we put those into place. Your summary should be about 8 sentences. It could be a little bit more. It might be 1 sentence less, but if you're really capturing the whole article, it should be at least 8. And what this does is you've now created the citation, you've now created a summary. So when you go back and when you're writing that essay, you really get a sense of each article that you've already read. It saves you a ton of time. It helps you with your planning. It really creates organization that can help you later on down the road. So that's how we do a peer-reviewed scholarly source. But what you may be asking is, Mr. Dupree, what if I do find a great blog that I want to use? We're going to talk about that as well. So over here, I found a great article that talks about compassion in nursing. Here's the little trick that I want to show you. There's a website called easybib.com. Okay, and easybib.com, you can create citations from websites or other sources. So in this case, this is a website. We're going to copy. And we're going to click on website to cite our source. And we're going to paste. And we're going to search it. And then we're going to cite. And this is the information that it found. This is the information that it did not find. So it's your responsibility to make sure that when you create these citations, or even if you're copying them off of the peer-reviewed site, that all of the information is accurate. So we see that our article title is correct, but we see that they did not include the author. So we want to go back to this website, and the author is actually at the bottom in this case, and her name is Renee Thompson. So we want to go in here, type her name, check our website title, which is Healthy Workforce Institute. That's accurate. Publisher and sponsor. Typically, this information's at the bottom. So we're going to go down here and we're going to look and see. And it looks like the publisher is Healthy Workforce Institute as well. So we want to go back up here, and this can often be the case. Healthy Workforce Institute. The day it was published is already there, and we want to complete that citation. And then guys, I'm not going to go through this ad. Unfortunately, it does this sometimes where you have to view an ad, or you can subscribe to EasyBib. But the moral of the story is it will create that citation, and then you do the exact same thing as you did in your previous. You go back to your Word document and you copy and paste it. And then first and foremost, before you begin any summary, you want to make sure that you have proper formatting, that you create that hanging indentation. Now that we've gone through how to create those citations and how to summarize and how to format, I want to show you an example. If you go to your Blackboard and you go to course reading materials and you scroll down to essay information, I want to show you an example of what this should look like when you're completed. Okay, so right here, you see that we have our citation, and then you see that there's a hanging indentation with the summary right below it. Here's another one where you see the citation, and this one actually goes to the second line, and then you see that immediately after you finish that citation, you begin your summary. Okay, so then the last thing I want to review with you today is Mla Format. I want you to go to course reading materials. I want you to go to MLA and APA. And I want you to click on this first item. This is a great example of an MLA document. So first and foremost, I want you to see that right here is where you put your header. And this header with your last name and the page number should be on each page of your document that you turn in. As you can see, it automatically populates. But then if you look at the left-hand side, there's another header. This header should only be on the first page. I want to show you guys real quick how we do that on a Word document. So if you go to this Word document, and we're going to enter down so that we can create our heading, let's go ahead and put our title in. Annotated bibliography, character qualities, and nursing. Okay, so if we want to insert the header that has the name and the page number, we're going to go to Insert. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We want to go to Header, blank. And then the first thing that we're going to do is insert our page number. So right here on the left is where mine's at. And you want to click on page number. And you want to have it right aligned because that's where your page number is supposed to go. So then after you finish that, as you can see, we have our page number over here. We want to click on that. And we want to put in our last name. And for some reason, that deleted my page number. So I'm going to try this one more time. So as you can see in the top right-hand corner, I have my page number that I inserted as well as my last name. However, when we do our header on the left-hand side, that does not go in the insert header section. That's one that we simply do on our own. So in this case, we're going to do the student's name, Charles Brown, and that's just an example. Mrs. Dupree, the instructor, English 112, research writing and inquiry. And then the date should be the date that the assignment is due. So in this case, let's pretend it's September 9th, 2020. I wanted to show you guys the difference between this two because this is a header that you have to insert into the header section and it will repopulate on every page. And I want to show you how that works. As you can see right here, it just went ahead and it put it on the second page. But this header on the left-hand side is one that we actually have to type out, and we do not want that on every page. It should only be on the first page. Okay, and just a couple MLA basics. We always want 12-point font. We always want Times New Roman. We always want double spacing, and our margins must be set at normal margins, which means 1 inch all the way around. And the great thing about your annotated bibliography, guys, is once you complete your annotated bibliography, you simply copy and paste the citations into your Works Cited page at the end of your essay. Delete the summaries, and then your Works Cited page is already created for you. So the work that you're creating now is actually work that you're going to be using for your essay. So you're building upon your work. You're not doing anything right now that's not going to really help you out when you go to write that essay. And then just to reference the timeline of all of this, here's the schedule. We're going to be working on citations, and I'm going to be helping you learn how to keep that research process going over the next couple weeks. Your annotated bibliography rough draft will be due on September 7th, 2020. And your final annotated bibliography is going to be due on 9/14. So I just want you to kind of see, we're already at the 25th today. So I want you to make sure that you're creating enough time and space where you're really digging in and working hard to ensure that you're getting those things completed on time for our peer review, which we'll talk more about next week. Okay, I hope that this has been helpful. We miss those of you that couldn't be in class. If you have any questions, you know my email and you have my phone number. You're more than welcome to reach out and ask me anything. And I hope to see those of you that I didn't see on Monday in class on Friday. Have a great day.